Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. FYF Sports. Wow. I happened to come across this guy's channel yesterday. It popped up on my feed. And this little beef that Sports and Fitness Rant has going on with FYF Sports is none of my beef. And when his channel came up and I saw him trying to clown sports and fitness rants for 4 hours. 4 hours, I tell you. 4 hours. I didn't watch the whole thing. And they really didn't even get into the beef part between him and Sports and Fitness Rants before I cut it off, because he wouldn't get to the point of what he was talking about. He was getting patted on the back by his subs and all this stuff. And yeah, he's got a lot of subs, but this guy's been on YouTube for I think like 4 years or something like that. Really talks about nothing. He really talks about nothing. He's a LeBron James apologist and all this stuff. And this is Michael Jordan. So I didn't really get too deep into. I wanted to see what he was going to say, but he wasn't saying too much before I caught some beef with the guy. And he starts saying stuff like, the 90s was watered down, and and Jerry Sloan even made a book on it. And I'm like, wow. So we're going to rip that apart real quick and show you that the 80s was actually watered down, not the 90s. The 80s was watered down. All the great players were on two teams, and that's why they were winning so much. All the great players was on two teams, the Lakers and the Celtics. And it's just amazing to me that Jerry Sloan would say something like that when the competition was spread out in the 90s. It was the most spread out since the 70s. And the run that he did in 97 and 98 in the Western Conference Finals, in the Western Conference playoffs, that was amazing. The teams that he beat and the competition that he beat, it's just mind-blowing that he would actually say something like that. Maybe he wanted to make some money, because it's a lot of, fools out there wanting to make some money. So they'll say anything that doesn't make any sense. But this one right here, we're going to talk about real quick, about how he said the Cavs on LeBron's second stint wasn't a super team because of Kevin Love. So what is a super team? It's not a guy that before LeBron James was a three-time All-Star, three-time All-NBA, most improved player, rebound champion, and a three-point champion. Wow. It was another team's number one franchise player. Don't we see a pattern right here with LeBron James? He doesn't just go get a free agent. Oh, come on, Joakim Noah. As his, second best player on the team? Or, come on, Kyle Korver. No. He goes and plays with other teams' number one franchise players. This guy has so many shortcomings that he just can't go play with another team's number one franchise player, which Michael Jordan would never do nothing like that. And these are guys that are in their primes, at the peak of their powers, and LeBron James is doing this. And if you watch my video, I got a video where LeBron has played with more top 5 overall draft picks than any player in NBA history. And most of these guys are on here. I don't want to get into this whole graphic right here, but this is what this guy does. So Kevin Love doesn't make the Cavs a super team? Wow. When did Jordan ever play with the guy that was a rebound leader and was a three-point specialist? Won the three-point contest. That was a number one franchise player of another team. And had already been a three-time NBA, All-NBA, and three-time All-Star. Wow. And this guy was making All-Star teams with LeBron James. So Michael Jordan never had no guy, two guys making All-Star teams with him. How come Tony Kukoc wasn't doing it? How come Horace Grant wasn't doing it? How come Dennis Rodman wasn't doing it with Michael Jordan if Kevin Love was doing it with LeBron James? See, the problem with this guy is he'll just say stuff. He's another LeBron apologists, they just say a lot of stuff. I could just say a lot of stuff. This all comes from Nick Wright. They just say stuff and they don't explain it. Explain how this guy had all these accolades before joining LeBron James. They act like this guy was a Kyle Korver or a Joakim Noah or something like that. That LeBron just, come on. That didn't make them a super team. He was a top 5 player in the league at the time. And you see the rest of these guys that are accolades before they even joined LeBron James. All these guys on this screen, besides, I think, Love, you might be tied with Pippen, but all these guys made more All-Star appearances than Scottie Pippen. And it's not the fact that anybody saying that, oh, LeBron didn't have no help in Cleveland with Kyrie. It's the fact that LeBron would even say that one there made him the best, the greatest of all time, after Kyrie hit that basket to win a game. So let's get into this right here. This guy's saying the 90s was watered down. So what was the 80s? Let's look at this. Let's look at the Lakers. So in 78, oh, hold on. Let's go back a season before that. And we're going to get to this graphic on the screen in a minute, because we're going to look at LeBron's competition, right? When he was in the 210s, because that's when they want to start Jordan's career in his prime in the 90s. So we'll start LeBron's in his prime in the 210s. So let's look at the Lakers in the 80s. So 78, 79, they finished third in the conference on that team. We'll just go over the Hall of Famers, right? They had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Who is this? Michael Cooper, Adrian Dantley, and Jamal Wilkes. So you have 4 Hall of Fame players on one team. They finished third and happened to get the number 1 overall draft pick, right? Magic Johnson, when they win a championship the next season, right? So the next season, they won a championship with Magic, and they had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Cooper, Magic Johnson, and Jamal Wilkes. So they had 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 5 Hall of Famers. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Hall of Famers on one team. 4 Hall of Famers on one team, right? So they will pull this off. I'm looking at trying to see when they got, when they get, no, I don't, did they get, yeah, Bob McAdoo. They end up getting Bob McAdoo in the 81-82 season, right? So in essence, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Hall of Famers on that team. What is that? 81, 82. They have 5 Hall of Famers on one team. How's that West looking right now? How's that West looking right now? Okay. My fault. Let me go back one. So that year they had 5 Hall of Famers on one team. They won the NBA championship in 81, 82, right? So that offseason, they get James Worthy. They're able to draft James Worthy, okay, with the number 1 pick. So now, again, they got 5 Hall of Famers on one team when they're able to acquire James Worthy, right? This era isn't watered down. So we know what they went on to do in the 80s, right? They went to 8 finals and won 5. Don't worry about it. It ain't watered down. Let me see. 1980. We're going to go over here and look at the Celtics real quick. we're going to look at what the Celtics were able to do in the 80s. Of course, this thing was typed slow. So let me see here. So we're going to start right here where we started with the Lakers, right? So right before they get Larry Bird, right? They don't even they finish number 5, no, 10th in the conference, right? In the 78-79 season. We're only going to talk about the Hall of Famers. Tony Archibald, Dave Cowens, Bob McAdoo, and they couldn't make the playoffs. So they end up getting Larry Bird in the draft. And now the team is Larry Bird, Nate Archibald, Cowens, and Pete Maravich. So on this team, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 Hall of Famers just like that at the beginning of Larry Bird's career. Now they got beat by the Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals, but the next season they would win the championship. And we all know that offseason, when they got beat by the Sixers, they were able to acquire Kevin McHale, and they just went to the Eastern Conference Finals in the draft. So now they got Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Archibald. So they got 4 Hall of Famers on one team just like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. So all the competition is on 2 teams. 2 teams. 2 teams. In, I think it was 84-85 season, they were able to acquire Dennis Johnson. And I think the next season they were able to acquire Bill Walton. So in essence, these guys, since Larry Bird's first season, they always had, through the 80s, from his first season all the way through the 80s, they have 4 to 5 Hall of Famers on one team. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan in the 80s was losing and losing and losing with nobody on his team. But nobody wants to talk about that. Because they say, oh, the Bird and Magic brought back basketball to the NBA in the 80s and 90s. Yes, with stacked teams. They always have 4 to 5 Hall of Famers on one team. So to me, what are we talking about? It was watered down. Explain that. The 90s was. And we're going to look at that real quick right here and look at the 90s. Let's look at this real quick. And what I want to look at, let me see. This I'm going to show you that Jordan was not at no type of advantage than any other, the Bulls weren't at any type of advantage in the 90s than any other team. Okay? And you're going to see why they're calling the 90s watered down, because all those teams weren't stacked. Well, it wasn't just 2 teams that were stacked, right? So let's look at the 1990 All-Star game. So you got Isaiah Thomas for the starters, Jordan, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, right? So when we go down to the reserves, you got Robert Parrish, now Boston has 2. Kevin McHale, now Boston has 3. You got Joe Dumars, now the Pistons have 2. You got Dominique Wilkins, Reggie Miller, Scottie Pippen, now the Bulls got 2. You got Dennis Rodman, now the Pistons have 3. Let's go to the West. You got Magic as the starters. You got Magic Johnson, John Stockton, James Worthy. Now the Lakers have 2. AC Green. Now the Lakers have 3. Keem Olajuwon. Go down to the reserves. David Robinson, Fat Lever, Tom Chambers, Ronaldo Blackman, Karl Malone. Let me see. Now you got the Jazz that got 2. Clyde Drexler, Chris Mullin, and Kevin Johnson. So the Lakers got 3 All-Stars, and so does the Pistons. Michael Jordan, come on, man. We're going to show you how this thing was spread out and balanced, or how it was of no advantage to Michael Jordan in the 90s. So 92, or was this 90? Yeah, 91. The starters: Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing. The reserves: Dominique Wilkins, Ricky Pierce, Hersey Hawkins. Now you got 2 on Philly. Kevin McHale. Now you got 2 on Boston. Brad Daugherty, Alvin Robinson. Now you got 2 on Milwaukee. Robert Parrish. Now you got 3 on Boston. Bernard King and Joe Dumars. Let me see. Now you would have 2 on the Pistons. As you can see, Jordan didn't have no All-Star teammate that year. You got guys on here that had 3 on one team. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, you got guys that got 2 and 3 on one team. And Jordan didn't even have an All-Star teammate. Let's go to 92. I'm showing you how ridiculous. Well, let's hold on. Let's go back one. I think I missed the West. Did I miss the West? Yeah, I missed the West in 91. So you got, for the starters, Magic Johnson, Kevin Johnson, Chris Mullin, Karl Malone, David Robinson. For the reserves, you got James Worthy. Now you got two on the Lakers. Clyde Drexler, Kevin Duckworth, Tom Chambers. Now you got 2 on Phoenix Suns. Terry Porter. Now you got 2 on the Trailblazers. John Stockton. Now you got 2 on the Jazz. Tim Hardaway. Now you got 2 on Golden State. Have you seen a Michael Jordan advantage yet? I mean, let's keep going. So we go to 92. The starters: Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, and you got Patrick Ewing. The reserves: Michael Adams, Brad Daugherty, Joe Dumars. So now you already got 2 on the Pistons. Reggie Lewis. Now you already got 2 on the Celtics. Mark Price. Let me see. Mark Price. Dennis Rodman. Now you already got 3 on the Pistons. Dominique Wilkins and Kevin Willis. So you got 2 on the Hawks, right? And 2 on the Bulls. So you can clearly see Michael Jordan has no real advantage so far. So we're going to go to 93. So you got in the East starters: Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. Now the Bulls got 2. Larry Johnson. You got Shaq, Brad Daugherty, Joe Dumars. So the Pistons got 2. Patrick Ewing, Larry Nance. So Cleveland has 2. Mark Price. Now Cleveland has 3. Def Left Shrimp, Dominique Wilkins. So for the West: John Stockton, the starters, Clyde Drexler, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, David Robinson. So the Jazz have 2. Sean Elliott for the reserves. Now San Antonio has 2. Tim Hardaway, Sean Kemp, Dan Marley. Oh, so the Suns have 2 now. Danny Manning, Akeem, Terry Porter. I think. So yeah, the Trailblazers have 2 now. Mitch Richmond and Chris Mullin. Let me see. Golden State, Sacramento. So Golden State has two, if I'm not mistaken, two All Stars. So I really don't know what these guys are talking about. So I won't even get into when Jordan wasn't playing because this guy says, "Oh, I'm not going to hold it against Jordan. He had a player who was in front of him." That's what he said. That's what this guy said against Jordan's watered down competition in the '90s. FYF Sports. So let's go to '96 in the East for the starters. Penny Hardaway, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. The Bulls got two already. Grant Hill, Shaq. So Orlando has two All Stars. Vin Baker, Terrell Brandon, Patrick Ewing, Juwan Howard, Reggie Miller, Alonzo Mourning, and Glenn Rice. Right? So you got to feel sorry for Patrick Ewing, who never has no help, never has no All Star, it seems like. So I haven't seen no advantage for Michael Jordan in this watered down era, right? All I see is these teams having all great players. So let's go to '97. Oh, my fault. I don't think we did the West. Yeah, we didn't do the West. So the West in '96, Jason Kidd, Clyde Drexler, Charles Barkley, Sean Kemp, and Hakeem. So the Houston Rockets already got two on one team, right? And then the reserves, you got Sean Elliott. Let me see. Yeah, you got Sean Elliott, Karl Malone, Dikembe Mutombo. You got Gary Payton. Now that Sonics got two. Mitch Richmond, David Robinson. Now the Spurs got two. John Stockton. So let me see. Where's Carl? Yeah. So the Jazz got two. Well, I'm trying to figure out where the Bulls had this advantage. So let's go to '97, right? The starters in the East: Penny Hardaway, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. Now the Bulls got two. Grant Hill, and Patrick Ewing. The reserves: Vin Baker, Terrell Brandon, Joe Dumars. Now the Detroit has two. Um, Tim Hardaway, Christian Laettner, Alonzo Mourning. Now the Heat have two. Dikembe Mutombo, Glenn Rice, and Chris Webber. Go to the West. Gary Payton, John Stockton, Charles Barkley, Sean Kemp, and Hakeem. Now the Rockets have two. The reserves: Clyde Drexler. Now the Rockets got three. Kevin Garnett. Who is this? Chris Gatling. Tom Gugliotta. What? He was a coach, right? At one time, wasn't he a coach? So now Minnesota has two. Eddie Jones, Karl Malone. So now the Jazz have two. Shaq. Now the Lakers have two. Mitch Richmond, Def Left Shrimp. So the Sonics have three now. In Latrell Sprewell, I'm trying to see if it was somebody else from Golden State that made it. No. So what are we talking about? These teams got 2 and 3 players on one team. I think this was this the year that the Lakers had? No, that's the next year. So let's go to '98. So '98, well, they're showing the West first. So '98, the starters for the West was Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, Karl Malone, and Shaq. So automatically, the Lakers have two. The reserves: Jason Kidd, Eddie Jones. Now the Lakers have three. Mitch Richmond. I'm trying to see. Tim Duncan, Vin Baker, Let me see. They got any more for Seattle. So Sean Kemp didn't make it. So now they got 2 for Seattle. And David Robinson, that would be 1, 2. If I'm not mistaken. The San Antonio Spurs, they got 2. So we go over here to the West, and we're looking at the starters. Penny Hardaway, this is all the way in 98. Penny's still balling. Michael Jordan, Grant Hill, Sean Kemp. Oh, yeah, Sean Kemp left. That's why he went over there. Dikembe Mutombo, the reserves. Tim Hardaway, Reggie Miller, Steve Smith. So now Atlanta has 2. Glenn Rice, let me see. Antoine Walker, Jason Williams, and Rick Smits. I mean, to me, the West was loaded. The West was loaded. From 90, especially from about 94, 95 on, the West was loaded. Okay? So that was 98. So clearly, can anybody tell me where Michael Jordan had this advantage in the league in this watered down 90s? Where all the talent was spread out. It was spread out. And coming into the 90s, Jordan had the least all-star teammates of anybody. From 90 to 93, it was still the Celtics, and it was still the Lakers and the Pistons. From 90 to 93. So let's look at this right here. Jordan's 90s era was watered down with expansion, right? LeBron's East competition with Miami's super team from 2011 to 2014, going 2-4 in the finals. So this is who LeBron was battling, right? From 2011 to 2014. We put Ray Allen in and out because he played with LeBron for like 2 seasons. So he was battling these top 75 players in the East. Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. This is who LeBron was battling on that super team in Miami, while all the competition was in the West. Let's go to 2015 to 18, when LeBron went 1-3 with that super team. A Giannis that was still in diapers, who couldn't even make a basket. It was a joke. Carmelo Anthony was decent, wasn't all that as far as his teams. And then you had Wade, who actually played with LeBron James 1 season in Cleveland. And this was when Wade was really broke down, not when he was playing with LeBron after that. So this was LeBron James competition right here, where all the competition was in the West. And we're talking about Jordan's 90s was watered down. Wow. 2 of his championships, Scottie Pippen wasn't even an all-star. You had other players making all-star appearances over Scottie Pippen in 91, in 98. And Scottie Pippen was only an all-star with Michael Jordan 4 times while they played together. This is what I'm saying. These guys, when they say stuff, they will never explain and show you what they're talking about. They'll just talk. All this great competition at the center position from Shaq, Mutombo, Hakeem, Rick Smits, Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing in the 90s, all the great guard play, all the great forward and power forward, small forward play, all the great shooters in the 90s, just because they weren't sitting at the 3-point line because they have no other skills. They got to spread the floor out in this era, right? That's what they got to do. They got to spread the floor out and try to get screens and try to get 3-point shots off, being wide open. That's the only way they can get their shots. And you see a lot of this in the playoffs these days. To get their own shot, driving to the basket and just shooting the mid-range, they can't do that. It's a lot of bricking. They got to be wide open to hit these threes. They can't create their own shots. Either can LeBron James. All he can do is barrel to the basket with a stiff arm in your neck, in your forehead, in your chest, kneeing and kicking you just to do a layup on skinny 3-point shooters. And For this dude, FYF Sports, you can never show me you was right. And you would never want me to come on your panel because I will dismantle LeBron's career limb by limb. You never want me to come on there. But we'll start from the beginning. The most hyped player of all time. The most hyped player of all time. Supposed to exceeded all expectations, came in, missed the playoffs, wasn't an all-star. Second year with an all-star teammate. Jordan didn't have an all-star teammate until 90. Missed the playoffs after going, what? Lost 19, what was it, like 31 after the all-star break? With an all-star teammate, didn't make the playoffs. Third season, yes, they had to change the rules for this guy. Made the playoffs. Blew a 3-2 lead going back home where he melted down against this mighty Pistons team, right? He already had him on the ropes. And melted down in games 5 and 6. Go look at those percentages. Plus, minus, foul shooting, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. Went to the finals and melted down like ice the next season. Took a bunch of nobodies and melted down against competition. That was his worst finals. I don't know why they say 2011. It's okay to lose, bro. We're talking about melting down because I saw a lot of the subs talk about, Michael Jordan 1-9 before Pippen. Couldn't get out the first round. Was he melting down? Nope. Didn't melt down. Of course, if he melted down, you wouldn't know Michael Jordan to this day because that's what made it so incredible that he wasn't melting down. He was going out like an OG against 3 to 5 Hall of Famers until 1990. No, 91. Why he had nobody. A bench player, Pippen, in 88, who choked series after series, his damn self. So I wish FYF, whatever his name is, FYF Sports Debate would call me on the show. I will dismantle LeBron James in a debate. A flopper, a team hopper, no statistical titles but 2. I ain't did nothing but dismantle this guy's career. We're talking about the 90s? It was watered down with Shaq, Kareem, Hakeem, Tim Hardaway, Penny Hardaway, Jordan, Pippen. Don't forget Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas, all these guys, Joe Dumars, Grant Hill, Allen Iverson, John Stockton, Malone, Vin Baker. I mean, we can go on for days about all the great talent that played in the 90s. Allen Iverson, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Kevin Johnson, Sean Elliott, David Robinson, Tim Duncan. No way. After all these guys' career was over, most of them, it was pretty much a wrap on the NBA. Those guys that came into the 2000s were not able to duplicate what these guys did in the 90s. Go look at the ratings. Nobody was having it. No knock against, Shaq and Kobe and some of these other guys that came in the late 90s, but it just was not the same. The 90s was a golden age. They was not able to duplicate that to this day. And then, this is not LeBron's era. And when LeBron retires, these guys like FYF Sports, they're done. And we don't want to hear no crying when these PED allegations come out and they start ripping this guy apart. Tell me what you think.